Welcome to Let's Hustle Homes with Hazel. I'm Hazel Shakur, and this show is really about taking a deep dive in the world of real estate, kind of talking about the mindset, the market shifts, what it takes to be a top agent in this ever shifting, ever evolving market. My goal is to help people who are either, new to real estate or have been hustling for a while and have hit a wall, and they want to know what they can do to get past that wall and to really thrive. In fact, L.E.T.S stands for learn, execute, thrive, and succeed. And that's really my goal, is to help people be great. Let's be great together is what I'm thinking. So today I'm really excited because I'm introducing a series. It's a series with a young, brand new, never sold a home real estate agent, Sierra Williams. She's joining my team. She's actually going to start Redfin training tomorrow. And I brought her on because I want to kind of track her journey. Having her first lead, touring homes, writing an offer, all of the things that come with being a new agent. I want to journal that and to help guide her through this process. And my intention is for her to be a top agent, or to be well on her way to being a top agent, and to give her the guidance that I wish I had when I first started out in real estate. So I am really excited to start this journey. We'll be updating you every month. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Sierra Williams. Sierra, welcome to the show. Tell the audience who you are and what brought you to real estate.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the show with you. So I'm Sierra Williams. I'm originally from Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes outside of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I went to college, got a marketing management degree, came to Maryland with my first career starting off in operations. Then I moved over to sales and marketing. And I've been in the real estate game. I'm brand new, but I've been in the real estate game with my mom since I was like 5 years old, like your daughter. And so,
backseat realtor.
Yeah. So I was doing all the closing inspections, appraisals with my mom. So she kind of really shaped that hustle and kind of grind that I have today. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to be joining real estate, especially be working next to you, the GOAT.
I love that. I love it. Well, what made you finally decide? Like, it sounded like you tried other things, but then one day did you just wake up and say, you know what? I think I want to be a realtor. I think I want to go into real estate. What drove you to finally decide to try real estate?
Well, besides my mom drilling it into my head all the time. But no, honestly, I feel like I always wanted to do real estate when I first moved to Maryland, but I came out here by myself. So it was like, are you really going to quit your structured 9-to-5, 2-week paycheck to be a real estate agent? And I just wasn't ready at the time, but it was always something that I wanted to do. And then, once I got the support system and I'm engaged now, I'm like, hey, can we do it? Yeah, why not?
Sometimes timing is everything.
It's definitely timing is everything.
And you bring up a very good point. As a new agent, it's a hustle. It could be a couple of months before your first paycheck in real estate. So if you go into real estate, you really have to plan, save, so that you can live until you start to develop your own client base and the sales and the deals are closing. Absolutely. So that's a good point. So I completely understand and can relate to that. Well, tell me, what excites you the most about going into real estate? And then also, what scares you and makes you nervous?
Well, I'll start with what scares me. I think that the overthinking, just, because you're brand new, you don't really know everything. And I have all these scenarios in my head of clients asking me questions and I'm like, oh, let me go get someone else to answer that for you. So I think just the overthinking part of not knowing, that kind of makes me a little hesitant, but I'm ready for it. But what excites me is just helping people and being impactful in people's lives and, helping them find their dream homes or second home, investment properties, whatever it is, being a pillar, and having that resources and helping to guide people.
That's fantastic. And that's really, I think, the key to being a good realtor. You got to start with having passion for what you do and to really understand your role, your pivotal role in people's lives as they are looking for properties either to live in or as investment properties. I'm going to share something with you that I think will help you with your what makes you nervous and scared. Yeah. And it's essentially, the worst thing you can do is pretend to know something. Whenever you get a question that you don't understand or don't have an answer for, say, that's a great question. I want to make sure I give you the right answer. So let me check in with my manager and make sure that I haven't left anything out of my explanation. Okay.
Yep.
I'll get back to you by 5 o'clock. Is that okay? And usually they say yes.
Yeah.
So, say that you understand it's a good question and it's important and you don't have all the answers and you want to make sure that you give them the full answer. So you're going to get back to them. And then give them a time frame when you're going to get back to them and make sure you get back to them in that time frame. Then call me.
Okay.
And I will help you.
Okay.
So you should also just start from letting them know, hey, I've got the most amazing mentor and manager. Her name is Hazel Shakur. She has sold over 1,100 homes. And I am working with her to develop my skill as a real estate agent. So I'm always going to have an answer for you. I might have to find it. And I hope you're patient with me. But I promise you, between myself and Hazel, we're going to make sure you're well taken care of.
Okay.
So just be honest. I think being transparent and honest is what's important. I think people are willing to give you a chance. And certainly if you let them know you work in a team. I think if I had that when I started out, oh my goodness, it would have been amazing. But I kind of just had to learn and make a bunch of mistakes. And the good news is you get to learn from all of my mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to make your own, but you're going to learn from some of mine. So don't be nervous. Just give an honest answer. Tell them when you're going to get back to them and do just that. And then after a few of these deals, all of a sudden, you're just going to be able to know a lot of the things that you don't know. Okay. That's the whole point of this conversation, is that you are a new agent. And I want you to show everybody else all the things that come with that.
Right.
The good, the bad, and the ugly, including not knowing answers to questions. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That's why I love, having a mentor.
Exactly.
It's
That's
very
exactly
important to have one.
Absolutely. I've had many, and I've been very fortunate, and so I'm glad to be giving back and having you under my tutelage.
Yeah.
Tell me this, because you have been listening to some of my conversations with clients. You were in on a call with me for a very amazing client that I just secured.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the most surprising thing about real estate you found so far, now that you're kind of in it?
I think that, on social media, it looks like it's nothing but putting on your Chanel purse, getting dressed up and closing $1 million deals. And you don't really see that journey behind it. And I think just watching your phone is nonstop. Your emails are nonstop. You're always texting. It's like you always have clients that you have to problem solve for, and it's that part that it doesn't really get showcased when you see other agents until you're next to one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's the thing. I will say this, that if you're going into real estate because you think it's glamorous and you're just there for the paycheck, you're going to come up short, because it isn't. It really is about the grind and being okay with the grind. I always tell people you have to be okay with the boring work that comes with real estate, because if you're not, then it's going to bring you down, and you're going to, not have a very positive attitude about what you do. So I think you have to understand that that's all part of the process. You can't get from point A to point B. People can't get into their dream home unless you've done the hard work of solving problems, putting out fires on a regular and constant basis. And so you have to have an attitude that it's all for the greater good. And you're just going to, you're going to have grit and just get through it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you now know that as glamorous as I look right now,
right.
The career of real estate is not glamorous. Oftentimes it can be a grind, for sure. What are your biggest goals for your first year in the business? I'm going to let you say what yours, and maybe we have the same ones, but tell me this: a year from now, what would you like to be able to say about your career at that point?
Well, honestly, I care more. I mean, I definitely want to close deals. That's first and foremost, but I care more about the knowledge and experience and just being able to provide value to whoever I'm speaking to, whether it's a client or, a person who's looking to get into real estate. I want to be a person that can, just know a lot of things about real estate and actually have learned and built a business, from the ground up, and created some processes with help from you that I've become successful at. So it's just more the backseat stuff that I want to focus on top of closing deals too. Make sure I mention that. And then also, I do want to be someone in the community that people know. I want my name to ring bells, how you're oh, these clients are calling me. They know me from XYZ. I want that to be for me as well. So going out to different community events and, shaking as many hands and introducing myself. being open to that, being visible, is definitely a goal of mine because I'm definitely a type of person that can sit in my house all day and
work. I mean, exactly.
So now I have to put myself out there, and I'm ready for that. So I want to say by the next year, I can say I made some new connections, got my business off the ground, and closed some deals.
It's fantastic. Well, one of the things that we'll be really digging into is setting goals that are measurable.
Right.
Because, it's hard to get from point A to point B without knowing that you have a point B to get to, how to get there. Everything that you do has to be measurable. You mentioned earlier that you want to add value. I think it always begins with that, adding value, and then knowing what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the time frame that you're trying to accomplish it. So for me, we have the same goals. I want you to close some deals. I want you to develop your own kind of style of realting.
Okay.
Because it's not one size fits all. Like, I'm not expecting you, even though I tease that you're my mini me, I'm not expecting you to literally be my mini me. I feel like everyone comes into real estate with their perspective, their strengths, their weaknesses. Like, one of the things that you're good at that I could never do is cold calling. I cannot reach out to people I do not know and start a conversation and ask them for business. It's not how I'm built. You would think I would be good at that, but and if someone has raised their hand and said, I want to buy a house, then yes, I'm all in.
Right.
But to be able to go to people who have not raised their hand and said, I need this service, I think that's a particular skill set that most people don't have. And the fact that you have that is actually going to come in handy as we progress in this journey. So I'm glad you have goals. My goal for you is, yes, to knock it out of the park, because I feel like never before have I been in a position to really feel like I understand the business of real estate and how to be successful in it. Because, one day I woke up at the beginning of the year, I'm like, what? I've got a lot accomplished in the 21 years that I've been a realtor.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've decided is that how do I get other agents to be top-notch agents as well? Like, how do I get top producers out of my own sphere of influence in terms of agents? Because I feel like the more really amazing agents there are out there, the more people that we can help together collectively. So that's what I see in your future is giving that level of service. And I think the community outreach is so much more important than it's ever been before, because I think there are going to be some people that have real estate challenges that we have to help them with, whether it's buying a home or having to sell a home because they've lost their job and can't find a new one. There's a lot of things that are coming our way that I think someone with your character and your willingness to serve is going to really be able to help. And the other thing I just wanted to make note of that you said that I think is really important is you cannot sell real estate in a chair at your. We did during the pandemic. We did it very successfully, but I don't think that's how long-lasting businesses are sustained. I think you have to go out there and meet people. I have a lot of ideas for some of the ways that we can reach out in the community and make sure that people know that we are a resource available to them to help them with all of their real estate needs. So yes, I'm glad that you're prepared to go out there and put yourself out there a little bit more than you're used to. There may be some things that we'll do that aren't necessarily things that we've done before and that we're 100% comfortable with. But I think that if we have a strategic reason for doing it and we're reaching people on a personal level, I think we're going to succeed no matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and there is this thing called Rookie of the Year. So I do feel like, you know what? There was a DJ, Donnie Simpson. I think he may even still be on XM radio, but I think he used to close his, and please correct me and put it in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think he used to say, reach for the moon and you'll reach and you may, reach for the stars and you may reach the moon. Meaning reach really far.
You can, yeah.
As far as you can, because probably you're reaching way over here and the moon is actually a pretty grand place to land. And so I want you to have those goals within reason. I mean, obviously we want to be realistic and we want to make everything measurable, but just know that whatever hustle you're willing to bring to the game, that's what you're going to get out of it.
Okay.
Tell me this. Many agents are going to typically struggle. I know I did my first year. Why do you think, based on kind of what you know so far, why do you think that is? Why do you think new agents struggle? Like, what are the things you talked a little bit about what you're nervous about, but that was on a general basis. But tell me kind of day to day, what do you think your challenges are going to be?
I think just, being discouraged if you don't have a client,
Mhm.
or, if you're writing offers for a client and it's not going through, or, you don't have the right strategy. I think that can make you feel like, oh, I'm struggling and I don't know if I can do this, But I think the most part is that I always hear this saying and it says, no one's coming to save you. Like you can't just sit here and think that someone's going to give you a deadline. Like when you work a 9 to 5, you have your deadline, you have your meetings, everything's already scheduled, everything's structured, but this is all on you. So it's really like, can I, be that person that's going to be, self motivated and get out of bed even when I may not have a task, I may not have a client, and I just got to go out there and get it. Can I do that? And I know I can, but you kind of go through those mindset changes going into real estate. So
Yeah.
I think that it can be discouraging.
Yeah, no, I think you're right because the one thing, um, and I use the word hustle and determine interchangeably because you are your own boss essentially when
Mhm.
you're in real estate. I know we have a little bit more structure than other brokerages at Redfin, but you are your own boss. So you are working off of your own steam. So if you don't
Mhm.
get up and hustle and find a home for your client or go out there and meet people so that maybe you can, get some business that way and reach out to the people that you know and find out if they have any real estate needs. If you aren't doing those things that are not necessarily comfortable or on a schedule for you to do, or have someone saying, "Hey, did you do this? And we have a
Right.
deadline. Is that report done?" That's not how real estate works. It really is all your own initiative, and you have to have the discipline. And we'll spend a lot of time creating systems so that
Yeah.
you have to be disciplined, but at the same time, there are reminders and things that you're supposed to do. And as long as you're doing these things, you will succeed in real estate. I think that the what often happens is that people think that, yeah, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to meet a client, they're going to want to buy a home, and within 20 days, we're going to find them a home, and then they're going to be in that new home, and I'll have a paycheck within the first 60 days of being an agent. And that's not always the case. And so you have to give yourself the grace, and you have to be your own cheerleader oftentimes
Yeah.
and say, "You could do it, you could do it," because every day is a new day. And the ratified contract may be the next contract you write. And so I'm glad that you're sharing that with me. And I promise you that we're going to develop some systems that will help you, stay on task, be disciplined, do the boring work that's required in order to be successful in real estate. So thanks for sharing that. Um, so let me ask you this. There's a lot of talk about a market shift. And I know you've heard me talk about it and you've heard things on television. Does that discourage you at all? Or is it that I just don't know what they're talking about? So I'm just going to assume that, it's happening, but I'm going to get through it. And, I'm just going to do my thing. Tell me what's your attitude? Are you nervous? Are you hesitant? Or do you not know enough to be concerned?
Two things. So I don't know enough to be concerned. That's first and foremost. But secondly, I think of it like any business. Like they all go through their cycles. I've seen my mom navigate real estate for 20 plus years, where 2008 happened, 2009, all that good stuff. And then coming out of that, I mean, it's always ebbs and flows, with any business. So I think real estate, I take on that mindset that it's always day one.
Mhm.
So you just got to go out there and have different approaches and be, what's the word? Adaptable.
Adaptable, flexible,
Yeah,
and
flexible. Like, hey, you might not can, I know that with my mom, her business is referral based, so most of her clients come from someone else referring her.
Mhm.
But then, when the market slows down, you might have to pick up the phone and call some people, and you can't sit and wait for a client. So just having those different approaches and understanding, what the market is, which I don't understand right now, but I'm sure I'm going to find out soon. So it doesn't make me hesitant at all. I just think that if anything, by my end of this year, going into next year, that I will be a better agent because of whatever challenges are going on now. It just kind of sharpens my iron.
I feel the same way. I feel like it's so easy to be a great agent when there's a ton of business out there.
Right.
And I think that's how I started actually in real estate is that I started out in 2003, going into 2004. And it was just kind of like the wild, wild west of real estate. There was so much business. And I became successful very quickly because I have the hustle And I didn't see when the market crashed, I didn't see it coming. Firstly, I was very naive. And secondly, I wasn't prepared. But I lived through it, and that helped me prepare for when the pandemic happened. And now I am, I've got some level of concern. I'm keeping an eye on things. I'm keeping an eye on things not just for myself, but for my clients, and knowing what their long-term goals are. I'm
Yeah.
communicating with them, especially the ones that were planning on retiring or selling in the near future. But I feel like you absolutely have the right mentality. And I think seeing your mom go through the different various, shifts in the market helped you have an appreciation for the fact that you can survive all of it.
Yeah.
You can really come out at the other end a better agent, sharpening your tools, as you said. I think that's absolutely what's going to happen if we go into a downturn that many people are expecting. So we know what your fears and what about real estate and what's exciting about the prospect and what can happen in the next year. Let's talk a little bit more, kind of meat and potatoes, nitty gritty, kind of the plan for success. Okay,
Okay.
tell me this. You've seen me in action a little bit. You know what your mom used to do or does. Tell me, what do you think you should be doing every day to build momentum? Like, what is the one thing you think you need to do every day?
Mm. I would say one thing I always hear you guys talk about is like pipeline and lead generation. So that would be my
Yes.
starter pack.
Yeah.
Just always digging into that, doing my follow-ups and just, working with prospective clients, future clients, or clients that I currently have.
Yeah.
I feel like that will help me because I feel like momentum is all about action. Like I can't just wake up and just be idle and think that things are going to come to me. So I think part of the action is definitely going after, continue to build my business since I'm starting from the ground up,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And every lead you get, and the wonderful thing about working at Redfin is we really have leads, a very clean and ready to go leads, unlike no one else out there. And so you do have that leg up, but what you do with those leads, that's what counts, because sometimes people are not ready. You have to meet people where they are.
Right.
And following up on your pipeline, following up with your clients and finding them homes that they can preview, or helping them figure out how to fix their credit if that's what needs to happen, or get a loan approval. These are things that you have to do. And the only way to know that these are things that your clients need to do is to continuously follow up with them,
Yeah.
find out where they are, encourage them. You wear many hats as a real estate agent. One of them is definitely, you know, caseworking. Like, where are we today, and where do you need to be, and how are we going to get you there?
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the job. And absolutely, I think one of the things that, and you do hear me, and I'm laughing because you have heard me say that, because a lot of times you're hearing me say, oh my gosh, I got to get back to my pipeline. I need to get back to it. Because oftentimes what we do is we work on fires. We work on the things that are urgent, not the things that are important. There's a difference.
Mhm.
Things that are urgent are things that are needing attention immediately because something bad could happen. Things that are important are things that help you build your business long term and help you stay in the business and continuously grow and help people. And important things like pipeline follow up, those become put on the back burner because you're so busy putting out fires. But a good agent is going to know that you have to do both, and you have to make time for both. One of the things that we'll talk about is picking out a time of day that you want to block for just doing that.
Yeah.
It's on my calendar. You'll see that there are, every day of the week, there is some time set apart, set aside for me to do follow ups and to call my sellers and to follow up with people who have shown my listings. It's very important. So that is absolutely 100%. That's my answer. And it's funny because we didn't talk about this beforehand. And I think you picked up from me how important that is. So kudos to you. Um, Tell me this. In this market, or in this realm, in real estate business, relationships, building relationships, very critical. How are you going to build your network? Like, tell me, and I know people sometimes think, what network are you talking about? But tell me this. Who do you think your network is? Who do you think those people are? And what are you going to do to make sure they know you're an agent ready to help them?
Whew. I think that, going out, like I said, the community outreach and just finding different things that are different events that are going on, whether it's like a social event or just a town hall, city hall meeting and stuff like that. Just making a name for myself where I am now. And creating a niche market, kind of just, we're in Prince George County. So always wherever I see opportunity to talk to a small business owner or whatever, put my flyers up at their shops, smoothie places, and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. Yes, to all of that. Absolutely.
That, and also I think too, hosting my own events. I think you were talking about that as well. So I think us teaming up, hosting those events, you putting yourself out there, remaining visible, I think is really, really important when it comes to building your network.
Yeah, that's
People have to know who you are.
Exactly. You can't, again, you can't sell real estate from your, home office.
Right.
You definitely have to be out there. And you brought up a lot of really good things to consider doing. The thing that I did not do well, again, this is under the headline of the things I should have done, I didn't do that you should do. I definitely have always given great customer service. And I'm always there to help, but I never really reached out to people within my own circle because I used to feel some kind of way about saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Do you want to use me? And I never did that. I mean, the people who use me, they would see me at the swim meet or at track meets, and I'd be on my computer. And that's how they'd find out I'm a realtor, or they hear my conversation. And it wasn't because I was advertising myself. But I feel like now that I'm a grown up real estate lady, I feel like I need to be proud of my profession and feel like I'm adding value. And I do feel like I add value. So now I have no problems reaching out to people within the PTO or, within my own little group of friends and saying, hey, if you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell, make sure I'm a top agent, right? Like, and I put myself out there a lot more. So just know that the people that you run into all the time, that's important. I'll tell you one story to kind of reinforce this. There is a woman who has been working at the Safeway since I was strolling around with Asada when she was 1 year old, which is when we moved out to Fort Washington. She literally is the shiny, happy face that I see whenever I'm there. She works around the same time I'm shopping. And her daughter and my daughter actually went to the same school when they were in elementary school. She's a couple of years younger than Asada, but we were friendly all of these years. She never knew I was a real estate agent until 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, and she's like, oh, I wish I'd known that. I bought a house a couple of years ago and I certainly would have used you. So when I tell you, I could kick myself because I could have just wove it into any conversation on any given day that I was in that grocery store that I'm a real estate agent. And I think she thought enough about me to think, oh, I'd like to use her as a real estate agent. And I didn't do that. So you have to get into the habit of being able to talk about yourself, practice your elevator pitch, so to speak, and talk about the exciting things that are happening in real estate and just make sure that people know that you're a realtor because it starts there. Because your own sphere of influence, they're the ones who are going to bring business to you if they know that you're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So get in the habit of doing that. I might even buy you a t-shirt that says, I'm a realtor. Ask me a question. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that to you. All right. So let's set a challenge. What's one big action step you will commit to before the next episode?
You know what? I'm just going to throw it out there
Okay.
because I feel like if I don't say it, I won't do it. But an event.
Okay.
I know that I'm hesitant to do one, but I think having like a home buyer seminar or like some type of lunch and learn where they can come in and, have someone come and speak and, help them during their home buying process, wherever they are in that process, and they can eat some good food. So I think that, I'm going to commit to doing that because that scares me and I need to go after.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Let's do it. No. Okay. Well, you've said it to me. And as the person that is responsible for your real estate growth, I'm going to help you make it happen.
Great. Yeah.
So we're committed to having one event before our next episode together, because this is going to be a series that will have an episode every month as we follow Sierra on her journey as becoming a top real estate agent. So thank you. I know I can tell that you're like, oh, should I say this? Well, I'm always talking about Mel Robbins, who's a public speaker and a motivational coach. And I recently listened to her book at the beginning of the year, which is why this podcast now exists. Because I listened to her book, 5-second Rule. And it says that you can talk yourself out of anything that you want to do in 5 seconds. So her rule is to count backwards from 5. You can't count forward because You'll keep counting,
Mhm.
count backwards from 5, and then just get up and do whatever it is that you think is going to get you ahead or the thing that's very important for you to do. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go set up an invitation to send out to people about our next event. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to book some space or, invite people into our office. You just have to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 yourself into the event. And so we'll pick a date. We'll set that date. And it's not even about whether it's a success or not. No one could show up to our event. We may be sitting there eating all those sandwiches on our own. But the key and what's important is that you set a goal and you came through with it and you did what you thought was important to get you ahead. So,
Yeah.
okay, we've got the challenge for next month. Okay, so tell me this. If you could fast forward 1 year, where do you hope to be? Like, what do you like? I know you say you want to sell some houses, obviously, and kind of start building your business. But if you had to quantify that, is there a certain number of deals that you hope to do? Is there
You know,
accolade you'd hope to win?
I'm not gonna put a number on it because I don't wanna, I don't wanna downplay it or upplay it or, or anything. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Like, I definitely want to, I know one of the things is having a deal close within like the first 75 days with Redfin. So I definitely want to accomplish that.
Okay.
Rookie of the year, all the things.
All the things.
But you know what? Just on a personal note, I want to make enough money where I could take my whole family on a nice paid vacation and we just sit on the beach drinking Mai Tais, have a good old time. All of it. So whatever amount of deals I need to do
Yep.
to accomplish that goal is something I always dreamed of, just being able to, call my side of the family, call my fiance side of the family. Hey guys, pack your bags. We're going to Paris or whatever.
Okay, now. Okay, well,
Whatever I need for that.
you're making me nervous. We're going to Paris, the whole family. But you know what? I say dream big at the end of the day, because here's the thing, even if you don't hit it that first year, you would have been working so hard that you would have put yourself and given yourself the momentum to keep going and to keep building and to keep grinding and to keep selling so that one day it will actually happen.
Yeah.
Because I have taken thanks to my wonderful career as a real estate agent, my children have been to some fabulous places.
Yes.
Costa Rica, Mexico,
Nice.
to Paris. So absolutely, all of that. You're in it to have the kind of life you want and to help people live the kind of life that they want. And so I think I say it out loud. I mean, don't leave. That's another thing from the book. Don't leave anything unsaid. Say it out loud. And the good news is, it doesn't have to be next year. It could be the year after that. But as long as you know that's something you want to accomplish through your hard work and effort, then I think you're going to get there. And help you get there.
Yes, please do.
Fantastic. So this wasn't so terrible, right? You were a little bit nervous about doing this with me. So no, thank you, Sierra, so much for firstly joining my team. I'm moving into my next era. I think that's what the kids say. My daughter, this is her it girl era.
I love that.
So I think my era is the coaching era. I want to just pour into other agents who want the knowledge, who want to hear how to be a top agent, who are eager to help other people. That's the era I'm in. And that's why this podcast exists. When I was thinking about, all the things that I could say and all the people I could say it to, it kept coming back to staying focused on the goal I've had for the past 21 years, the platform, the soapbox I've been on, which is helping people build their dream of home ownership, make their dream of home ownership come true, and also build generational wealth through owning property. And so to me, you becoming a top agent is part of that dream still for me. And it's part of me reaching my goal, continuing my journey to do the things I want to do in life and to help as many people as I can. So thank you, Sierra. And let's get going. Okay, guys, you heard it here. We have our first challenge with Sierra. She wants to have an event by the time we have our next episode next month. I hope you're as excited for Sierra as I am as she embarks on this journey to become a top real estate agent. I think she's going to give it all she has. I think she has what it takes to reach her goals. And I want us to take this journey with her because this podcast is really about us coming together and figuring out ways that we can succeed in real estate. Remember, The whole point of this is let's be great together. And LET stands for learn, execute, thrive, and succeed. We're going to do it one home, one client, and one dream at a time. So if you liked this episode, please comment and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.